Having trouble building wealth? Having trouble getting ahead in life? Well, if you're making choices like the one we're about to talk about, that's probably a root cause. As a little background context, I do have a minor in economics. I'm just a geek. I love that sort of stuff. And I also invest in real estate. So yeah, I scan the headlines and I'm always trying to keep up to date on just little things like that. And I came across this article, which I didn't think was that big of a deal based on the headlines. I mean, it's to be expected. But then there was a certain quote on the inside, which just totally summarizes just the thought process that if you are using this, then there is no doubt in my mind, you are probably having some stress in your life. You're probably having some wondering of, why can't I get ahead? It feels like my wheels are just spinning in the mud. What's going on? Well, this sort of thought process is probably what's going on. Now I realize this is just one little slice, but it does a great job of just showing a generalized, sequence of, how do you approach a situation? What is your thought process towards a certain situation? And if your end is what you're about to see, that is not good. So let's get to this, part of the article. And the article is about real estate and mortgages. And I'm not going to put you to sleep. I'll explain a few things here, but I just want to kind of, focus on what apparently people are choosing to do. So the name of the article, Mortgage Demands Drop 2.5% on the Highest Rates in Nearly 5 Years. I promise I'm not going to bore you with economics or anything like that, but just real quick on the surface so you can understand the overall context of this particular situation. Just understand that when mortgage rates rise, what causes them to rise? Well, there's some external forces out there. We won't get into all of that. Just understand that when mortgage rates go up, what people can afford as far as a house payment is concerned is going to have this relationship. So the higher mortgage rates rise, the less they can afford. So that's why these mortgage rates would technically be dropping in the amount of people that are interested, because when the rates actually go up, affordability goes down. So just understand that relationship. And then from the article, the adjustable rate mortgage share of activity increased to 6.7% of total applications. ARMs offer lower rates and demand usually rises as buyers try to afford more. Now I want to make sure that you understand the relationships that are going on here. That way you can kind of just see how bad this thought process is. But when mortgage rates rise, affordability goes down. So mortgage applications also go down because people are not going to apply for a house payment if they can't even afford things, right? And they can't afford things when the mortgage rates go up. So keep in mind mortgage rates versus applications. When rates go up, applications are going to go down. But now we're venturing into a section of mortgage rates of house payments that are known as ARMs. Keyword or key letter I should say is A, adjustable. So keep in mind, adjustable meaning it will change after a certain amount of time. So the thought process here is, well, mortgage rates have gone up. Let's change the color here. So mortgage rates have gone up. So we have Bob right here. And because mortgage rates have gone up, his affordability has actually gone down, what he can afford. So what's Bob's solution to this? Well, why don't I look over here at an ARM? Because ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, are less in price. And as that statistic showed, while mortgage applications as a whole are coming down, these are going up. Why? Because Bob is saying, I can't afford that. Wait a second. If I do that, if I go with an ARM, then I can't actually afford, let's just keep the number simple, let's just say $100. Yes, I'm aware home prices are not $100, but that's what he could afford. But because mortgage rates up, he couldn't. But hey, with ARM, I can't afford that $100. And everything seems okay so far. All right, hey, Bob found a solution to the problem. He can now afford the $100. But keyword A, adjustable, meaning it's going to change. Well, Clay, what's it going to change to? That way he can kind of plan that out. And that way he can budget for it in the future and Bob can be responsible. Yeah, but here's the thing. Let me use red because this is really nasty. What is it going to change to? Unknown. Now, I'm not going to get into the economics, but just the economy as a whole has the Federal Reserve, and Federal Reserves dictate interest rates. And how they're going to dictate those interest rates, what they're going to change, is unknown. Now, there's relatively, kind of a broad idea of what may happen with them. But the scary part is, as of the recording of this, over the foreseeable future, interest rates are going up. And to think that Bob is now choosing, and what was the stat? 6.7% are choosing to go this route. How scary is that actually? When in 3 or 5 years, you don't know what your house payment is going to be, because how this adjusts, nobody knows. What rate it's going to adjust to, nobody knows. And especially now, like I said, at the time of this recording, odds are highly likely that those rates are going up, and therefore Bob's payment is going up. So if your solution to something is, well, geez, I can't afford that. All right, let me go take on some sort of unknown risk so that I can afford that. That's a really bad mentality, and that is just setting yourself up for disaster. And to think that these kinds of unknown house payments rise at 6.7% just so that people can afford, and like I said, this is not my words, this is what the article said, that's just pure, that's not wise. That is not approaching things, that is not making a choice in a situation that's going to get you ahead in life. I mean, how stressful would that be when you're taking on one of these and you're saying, well, my house payment's going to change, but I have no idea what it's going to change to. And especially what happens if it changes more? I mean, think about it. They can't afford this. So they're just barely squeaking by in order to make that happen. And how are they barely squeaking by? They're taking on this unknown risk where their payment could therefore increase. And then what do you think is going to happen? Not good. And for you longer time people that had been around a while, back in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, remember the financial pop? Remember the real estate crash? You want to know what a big cause of that was? Why would that be the case? Because everything is unknown. People were looking at the time thinking, wow, all right, yeah, I can afford that. And then when things started to change, I can't afford that. Foreclosure city, prices crashed. And yes, now the real estate market has come back up and it's booming. And then you start to see stats like this again, and it's, I don't know. But as a real estate investor, go for it. Go for it. I'll gladly buy these houses on foreclosures when Bob, just because he's being greedy, doesn't want to wait and doesn't want to be smart about things. So Bob, I don't know. This 6.7% as a real estate investor, I'm ready. I'm ready for when your house is getting foreclosed on because you can't afford it anymore. So we'll see what happens. But stop and think. Maybe you didn't make this choice, but are there other choices that you're approaching things in life with that you're thinking, I don't know if I really thought that through. Because when you think things through, you can devise much better plans. And when you have good plans, you can start to build wealth. You can start to get ahead in life. Thanks for watching the video. If you are interested in the top 10 links that I use on a daily basis to manage, to control, and to build my finances and to make them efficient as possible, then down below in the description, if you're watching this on YouTube, description, if you're watching this on moneywithclay.com, then just down below the video, you can click on the link and that'll take you to these links that I use on a daily basis that really allow me to work smarter and not harder.